Testing, testing, testing. Okay, that's 12. There we go. There we go. Let's look closer. Shalom Israel, Shalom Yabashim Shabrakata to the brothers, Shalom Yahushua Bashim Yahushai to the sisters. We are the ISUPK, is Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commandant General Yohana, and we are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Now today, those of y'all who don't know already, today is a Sabbath service, and today we're going to be going over a little something, the mindset of a modern day slave. Because for those of y'all who don't know, we are still in captivity today. I know some of y'all might feel like, we're not because, some of us might not physically be in shackles or chains. A lot of our brothers and sisters are, though, in the prison centers. But my whole point being is that we still have a slave-like mentality today. People said that the best kind of slave is a happy slave. Now, why am I talking about slavery today? I know we just had Thanksgiving, a pagan holiday that the Most High hates, and you should hate too, if you don't already know the history of the so-called Native Indians, our Gadite brothers and sisters. You get what I mean? So today we're going to be covering over a few things and how we need to get out of a slave-like mentality. And I'm going to prove to you through the scriptures how we are still in captivity today. And how we get up out of that is, of course, coming into the school and learning how to serve the Most High if you are a so-called Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian today. So I'm going to give everybody a few moments just to check in, and we'll get started with the prayers. And as usual, when we get started with the prayers, remember, sisters, remember to have your heads covered. Brothers, remember to have your heads uncovered. And we're going to get started with the prayers in just a moment. Give everybody just a few moments. If you haven't already, I would appreciate it if you please like, share, and subscribe. We need to do everything we have to in order to get this truth out. Because a lot of our brothers and sisters still need saving today. Because I know a lot of y'all, and you know who you are, was getting into that Thanksgiving turkey and cranberry sauce and ham hock and neck bones and collard greens and whatever it was a couple of days ago. And your family will tell you today that, it's all about family. It's all about family, right? There's nothing wrong with celebrating Thanksgiving. Well, there is something wrong with it because you're celebrating it at the expense. First of all, it's a pagan holiday. It's man-made anyway. But you're celebrating it at the expense of the damn near genocide of over 100 million. Let me say that one more time for you. 100 million. You probably heard me say it before. Native Indians in this land. They always tell you about the Holocaust. To hell with the Holocaust. First of all, that's not our people anyway. I think it was approximately 5 to 7 million that died. Well, that pales in comparison to our Native Indian brothers and sisters, man. The Gadites, of this land. Don't even get me started on so-called Blacks and Hispanics also, who are still dying to this day. Our brothers and sisters who are still in cages today, and why you shouldn't celebrate any pagan holidays, and why you still have a slave mindset. All right, so with that, We getting started with the prayers. So with that, Amijim, just me up here. La Yasharala, which means to Israel in the Hebrew. We're going to be getting started with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. As I stated before, sisters, remember to have your heads covered. Brothers, remember to have your heads uncovered. And this is the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemaya, Kodash, Hayat, Shemka, Yahweh, Malak with Ka, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Hayat, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Kawa, Hayat, Bashamaya, Latamanawa, Lakam, Call, Yawam, Wasalak Nawa, Kabawath Nawa, Kasalak Nawa, Kabawath Yanawa, Wala'ah, Tabaya Nawa, Manasaiwan, Abal, Hawashai Nawa, Mayun, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwath, Waha'ala, Wahataparath, Lawalumyam, Aman. Now this is the Lord's Prayer in the English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Hakak, which is the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Babakashah, Latan Lanawa, Hakak, Hakak, Larapa'ah, Call, Makala, Wakal, Madawa, Hakak, Latahar, Ha, Matazarayan, Hakak, Lahaquayim, Hamathiam, Hakak, Al, Rakawath, Hatama Allah, Lagar Shun, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Thawada, Aman. Now in the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out in the name of Yahweh Shai. Thank you. So be it. The blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh, Wa Yahweh Shai, Wa Mayaka Allah, Wa Alahayim, Matazab Ya'ah, Alawap Yahana, Ha Alawapyim, Ha Sarunyan, Ha Kotazayoyan, Ha Kayayoyan, Wa Ha Akwathian, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Thawada, Aman. That's the blessings in the English. Bless you, Yahweh, and Yahweh Shai, and Michael, and the angels, commanding General Yohana, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you. So be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayanya, All, Haharim, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ah, Izoya, Ma'aim, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemayim, Wa'arataza, all, Yatun, Lamawat, Wagalka, all, Yanawam, Shemorka, Hana, La'a, Yanawam, Wala'a, Yayashun, Shawamar, Yasharala, Yahweh, Shemorka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al-Yad, Yamyamka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'a, Yakaka, Wayarach, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashamorka, Makor, Rai, Yashamar, Athnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Taza'athka, Wabawa'athka, Ma'itha, Wa'ai, Iwalam. As in Psalms 121 in the English. I will lift up my eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved, and he that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in, from this time forth and even forevermore. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim, all, Damaya, Laka, all, Dakarash, Wa'al, Dashakwat, all, Kaya, Hana, Awayebyaka, Yahama, Yawan, Ra'ash, Ail, Imaka, Ya'ayamwa, Sawada, Waita, Yatazawa, Ail, Tazapawanyaka, Amorwa, Lakawa, Wanakakidum, Magoya, Wala'a, Yazakar, Shum, Yasharala, Awda, Kaya, Yatazawa, Laba, Yakadwa, Alyaka, Baryath, Yakarathwa, Ahoya, Adawam, Wa, Yashamai, Alayam, Mawa'aba, Wahagorium, Gabal, Wayamawan, Wayamalak, Palashath, Am Yashabia, Tazawar, Gum, Ashawar, Nalawa, Imum, Hayawa, Zarawai, Labunya, Lawat, Salah, Aisha, Lahum, Kamudyim, Kasaya, Sara'ah, Kayubyin, Banakor, Koyashwan, Nashamadwa, Bayan, Dara, Hayawa, Daman, La'adama, Shayatamwa, Nada, Yamawa, Kairab, Wakaza Abba, Wakaza Bak, Wakata Zol, Manai, Kal, Nasayakamwa, Ashar, Amorwa, Nayarasha, Lanawa, Af, Naawath, Alahayim, Alahaya, Shayatamwa, Kagogala, Kakwash, Lapunya, Rawaka, Ka'ash, Taba'ira, Ya'ira, Wa, Kalahaba, Dalahat, Haryum, Kun, Tharadatma, Basa'iraka, Wabasa, Wapathka, Tabahalam, Mala'a, Panyahum, Kualawan, Waya, Bakwashwa, Shumka, Yahawa, Yabashwa, Waya, Bahawa, Ad Ya'ai, Waya, Kaparwa, Waya, Abadwa, Waya, Diawa, Kaya, Adda, Shemka, Yahawa, Labadka, Al Yawan, Alcohol, Harataza. That's the Psalms 83 in the English. Keep not thou silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make atonement, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel shall be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites, of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gabal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. A sword also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Ored, and like Zaid. Yea, all their princes, as Zabah, and as Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. O my God, make them like a will, as a stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O Lord, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. You may be seated. First and foremost, with the Most High hand. Today, we're going to be reading a little bit about slavery in the Bible. Those of y'all who don't know, there might be some Christians out there who still believe in that false Christian doctrine and want to believe that God loves everybody and, all that garbage. But we're going to be going over some historical facts that were already prophesied within the Bible. And we're going to be starting in the book of Gensesis, chapter 15. We're going to be reading a little bit about Abraham, which is our forefather, and a discussion that he had with the Most High. Shalom, Lord Christ, Adawan. What's going on? Shalom, Lord Christ, Adawan, priest, and also Shabal. Also 5,000 holding it down in Las Vegas. So today we're going to be going over the book of Gensesis, chapter 15. We're going to be going over it in the English. So we're going to be starting with verse 1. Slakia, first and foremost, I wanted to apologize to the Akim and Akwathium before we even get started. So you're supposed to, whenever you do Sabbath, we traditionally go over it in the Hebrew first. First 7 verses through the Hebrew, and then we do it in the English and give the breakdown. Salakia, my Hebrew is not up to par right now, but this is the ISUPK and the Commander General Yohana, so we have no cowards, no excuses. So there are no excuses. I have no choice but to get my Hebrew up to par. So that is a promise that I'm making to you, Israel, that I'm going to get myself correct. Salakia. So for now, we're going to be going over it in the English. The book of Gensesis, chapter 15, verse 1. After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, and saying, fear not, Abram. So this is Abram. This is before his name got changed to Abraham. For anybody who's been in the ICPK long enough, you know that the Most High will change your name to what he sees fit. So right here it's Abram, but later it gets changed to Abraham. So it says, after these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. And Abram said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus? So this is before, for those of y'all who don't know, for a long time, Abraham and Sarah, they were trying to have a child for a very, very long time. Eventually, they did have a child together by the name of Isaac. This is before them. And Abram said, behold, to me, thou hast given no seed, And lo, one born in my house is mine heir. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thy own bowels shall be thine heir. This is the Most High telling Abram at the time. He's telling him that, you are going to get an heir, and that heir will get an inheritance, but it's going to be through your seed. At this time, he had no child. And he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now toward heaven and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. It's talking about Israel. It was Isaac, and then, Jacob came after. The name was changed to Israel, of course. We're going to be as the numbers of the stars. You get my point? That's how it's supposed to be, right? And he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness. And he said unto him, I am the Lord that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldees to give thee this land to inherit it. And he said, Lord God, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, Take me an heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took unto him all these and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another. But the birds divided he not. And when the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. And lo, and horror of great darkness fell upon him. So right here, Abraham, I keep saying Abraham, this is before he was Abram. Abram, he is about to have a vision. But it don't sound too good, right? A dream in a sense, right? It don't sound too good. It says, and horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs. That sounds very familiar. We're going to get into that in a second. And shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. That sounds very, very familiar. That almost sounds like slavery. Things that so-called blacks, Hispanic, and Native Indians had to endure for over 400 years. But let's keep reading. This is verse 14. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 15, verse 14. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. So, for those of y'all Christians who don't know, slavery was already prophesied in the Bible. I just want to make something very clear. The Bible is not some book of fairy tales and make-believe. This isn't fiction. You get my point? You want to read a fiction book, go to the library and go get one of them Harry Potter books or something like that. This is history we're talking about right now. The Bible is Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian history. And right here, we already just read that Abram, whose name changed to Abraham, one of our forefathers, as you already know, the covenant was given to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob's name was later changed to Israel, 12 tribes of Israel, our forefathers, right? Our forefather was given a vision, a horrible vision. You got to imagine, like, the thing that was probably going through Abram's head at the time. Like, wait a minute, like, I've been told, like, I'm going to have a seed, I'm going to have children, my children the numbers are going to exceed that of the stars. That sounds like a great nation, right? But then he finds out that, we're going to read it one more time, get a little deeper into this. So this is verse 13. And he said unto Abram, Know ye of surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs. That sounds like us, because that is us. Blacks, Hispanic, and Native Indians today, we are strangers in lands that are not ours. And I'm not just talking about North America, by the way. No, we're spread all over. Do you get my point? We're all over the place. Not just in North America. It's very easy to talk about here because, I mean, majority of us live here. But it's not just talking about that. We were scattered. We were scattered abroad. Now, if I could, that's in the Bible too. We're going to go to the book of Deuteronomy. We're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 7. Now, the reason why I'm going over this is that I need people to understand that when I say people, I'm talking about our people. I don't give a damn about anybody else. I'm talking about Israel. Israel needs to understand that you were, yes, of course, we all know that we were put into slavery, but you need to understand that you're still in slavery today. You're still in captivity. We're going to read about it. So we're going to go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse, let's go to verse 7. The Lord shall cause thine enemies, the Lord shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face, or smitten, Salakia. They shall come against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways. So actually, no, Salakia. Hold up, Salakia. This one moment. That ain't the one I'm looking for. This one moment. Let's see that. That's not the one. Okay. Actually, no, Salakia. No, that was the one I was looking for. Salakia. But scattered 7 ways. Salakia. I confused myself. The whole point being is scattered 7 ways, right? How many continents are there? There's 7 continents. Where is it? You can find Israel everywhere. It's not just North America. You can find us in South America. You can find us in Germany. You can find us in Europe. You can find us, not a lot of us, but pretty sure you can find us in Australia. There's a few of us in Antarctica and whatnot, but my whole point is we were scattered. We're scattered. Slavery is in the Bible, and it was already prophesied. Now, here's the thing, though. If we're so great of a nation, right? Because we are, don't get it twisted. We are the Lord's chosen people. But the thing is, why do these things happen? Why? Why were we put into slavery? Actually, I'm going to propose a question. Let's see if anybody can answer that real quick before I continue. Why were we put into slavery? If anybody can answer real quick. Why were we as Israel put into slavery? Because somebody put us in slavery. I just want to educate everybody on who was it that actually put us into slavery. Because this might come as a bit of a surprise, but it wasn't the white man. I know that's going to go over some people's heads. Like, what? Like they had us in captivity, or have us in captivity. Yeah, Esau does have us in captivity, but they didn't put us in captivity. Those y'all who like to believe that so-called blacks and Africans are the same people, which we're not. Africans in the Bible are Ham. They're Hamites. They are not of the same nation as us. You get my point? They're the same. They're not the same nation as us. And I remember in school at one time they like to say that blacks sold blacks into slavery. No, Africans sold us into slavery. But the thing is, even they didn't put us into slavery. It goes way deeper than that. We were slaves in Egypt, back in Egypt. We weren't Egyptian. No, Egyptians, they're their own people. We were under captivity under them also. No different than today. No different than America today. Not all of us were necessarily in, chains and stuff like that, but we were still slaves. You get my point? Remember, Moses was living in the house with Pharaoh and them. You get my point? He wasn't, shackled up in anything at that point. He was actually living pretty good compared to the rest of his brethren at the time. You can compare that to a lot of celebrities today. Jay-Z, all them, Drake, Lil Wayne, Kanye. They might not physically be in shackles, but they're slaves too. The only difference between them and you is you in the field and they in the house. That's all. I pray you understand that. Somebody put us into slavery. And we're going to read about who and why we were put into slavery. So actually, I'm going to go to Romans chapter 1. Let's go to Romans. We're going to go to Romans chapter 1, verse 26. Romans chapter 1, verse 26. Actually, no. We're going to start at verse 25. This is the book of Romans chapter 1, verse 25. Who changed the truth of God into a lie and worshiped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause, God gave them up unto vile affections. For even their women did change the natural use in that which is against nature. You can use that for lesbianism, transgender, stuff like that, women who are changing the natural use of their bodies, right? But let's go back a little bit. It says, for this cause, God, the Most High, gave them up unto vile affections. Who's them? Us. We. Israel. Slakia. We were given up unto vile affections. But why? Why? Let's keep reading. And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of a woman, burn in their lust one toward another, men with men working that which is unseemingly, homosexuality, and receiving in themselves the recompense of their error, which was meat. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind, to do things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers. It continues. Backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents. Man, this is, geez. Verse 31, without understanding, covenant breakers. That's the one I wanted to get to. Why were we given up unto vile affections? Well, we were given the covenant, right? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We say it every class. Our forefathers, we, Israel, we were given the covenant. But it says, we just named all these horrible things, right? But in verse 31 right here, it says, without understanding, covenant breakers, meaning we broke the law, and continuously at that. Without natural affections, implicable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of God, that they which commit such things are worthy of death. We knew the law. It wasn't a myth. Now, in today's day and age, Esau, he hides the law away from us in plain sight through, Christianity and all this false religion and whatnot. I'll speak for myself right here. At one point, I always believed that there was a Most High, but, of course, as you should anyway, hated Christianity. And I thought, because I was uneducated at the time, I thought Christians made the Bible. I was naive at the time. I didn't know. I didn't know that this is a black book. This is a Native Indian Hispanic book about our people. You get my point? I didn't know that slavery was prophesied in the Bible. And I sure as hell did not know that God put us into slavery. That's the point I'm trying to get to. The Most High put us into slavery because, key word, we named a whole bunch of things, but the one I really want to focus on the most, covenant breakers. We broke the law. We broke the law, being whores and whoremongers and idolaters and worshiping false gods and all these things. We were doing this for ages. We've been so disobedient for so long. Remember, even when we were being brought up out of Egypt, Moses and Aaron, they were bringing us up out of Egypt at the time, and we were complaining. We were complaining the whole way. And the thing is, even though we were complaining, the Most High still gave us what we needed to survive. You get my point? But even then, it still wasn't good enough. We couldn't physically see the Most High. So what do? We convinced Aaron to make a golden calf out of golden jewelry and earrings and necklaces and stuff of Israel at the time. And it was so disrespectful that we made an altar to worship an inanimate object. You get my point? God put us into slavery. People don't understand. When I say people, I mean our people don't understand that the Most High is great, but the Most High can be terrible also. Most High can be very, very terrible. Matter of fact, I'm actually read that real quick. So I'm going to actually go and I'm going to prove it again through the Bible. I don't want to leave any room for debate. This isn't about what your opinion is. Christians and atheists and Muslims or whatever you want to follow nowadays, they love to argue about anything. They love to debate. They love to share their opinion. The thing is, the things in the Bible are not based off of opinion. These are facts. These are records about us, our people, the 12 tribes of Israel. So everybody likes to think, Christians especially love to think, God is all loving all the time, no matter what. God hates the sin, but not the sinner. Yeah, that's BS. Okay? I'm going to read it right here. This is the book of Nehemiah, chapter 1. We're going to go to verse 5. This is the book of Nehemiah, chapter 1, verse 5. And I said, and said, I beseech thee, O Lord God of heaven, the great and terrible. Let me read that one more time. The great and terrible God. The Most High can be terrible. The Most High has been terrible to us, but for good reason, obviously, because we've been disobedient. We just read in Romans chapter 1, verse 25 through 32, or 31, Salakia, that the Most High gave us unto vile affections because we were all these horrible things. And you know how, think of it like a parent and a child. You teach a kid, let's say something basic. Don't steal. Let's start with something basic. You teach your children don't steal, right? And the kids, they stealing, you do whatever you can to discipline them, right? You still love your kids, obviously. but you love them by disciplining them. You're trying to teach them right from wrong. But let's say you just got a disobedient child, man, and they just don't want to listen. Eventually, what some parents will do, they'll be like, all right, go ahead. Keep playing with me. Keep playing with me. Because eventually it's going to come a time where your parents not going to be able to save you. And you're going to keep stealing. And if you look like one of us, if you Israel, guess what? One of two things are going to happen. Either you're going to go to jail because you're stealing, or you're going to die. Somebody's going to shoot you and you're going to die. Okay? Because you're stealing. Well, that's being a covenant breaker right there. You're not supposed to be stealing anyway from anybody. Especially, I mean, you shouldn't be stealing from anybody, but you damn sure shouldn't be stealing from your own nation. You get my point? The whole thing was that we were so disobedient that the Most High was like, all right, here, y'all can, since y'all love to be anything than what I tell you to do, go ahead. Go ahead and be with these other nations. Go ahead and be whores and whoremon. Go ahead. And we were Slakia. We have suffered and we're still suffering today. The Most High put us in slavery, and our enemies have us. So to understand slavery, you got to understand why we were put in there and understand that you are still in slavery today, because this is Esau's nation. I don't know who told you otherwise. This is Esau's nation. You get my point? This is Babylon. This is America. Okay? We have no authority here. You get my point? We have nothing. And it's so bad. Let me tell you something right now. It's so bad that we're happy slaves. We don't want to get out of captivity. It was no different than when in Egypt, when we were complaining like, man, I'd rather be back in Egypt, man. I'm tired of walking through these woods and walking through the wilderness. My feet hurt. I'm thirsty. Even though the Lord was giving us angels bread, and, you know, Moses and Aaron was guiding us. And, you know, even, oh my goodness, even, hey, look, Moses was a great brother, but, you know, he was disobedient at one time too. And the Lord told him to speak to a rock. I don't know if y'all know that already, but he told him to speak to a rock. And the Most High was going to allow water to flow out of it because we were thirsty at the time. But Moses made an error, just like Aaron. They were frustrated. You know, they let their flesh at that time take over them because they were frustrated. They're tired of, you got to understand, Slakia, these are niggas. You get my point? Like, you got to imagine, like, you know how we get Israel. Just imagine a whole bunch of blacks, Hispanics, and natives just complaining and complaining and complaining. That's what we did. And Moses and Aaron, we just, you know, they just get tired of it. Like, man, I'm so sick of it. Shut their mouth. Like, all right, I'll give you what you want. Just to shut you up. I'll give you what you want. What did Aaron do? He made the golden calf. Error right there. All right. Worshiping a false god. Worshiping an idol. Get my point? A false image. Moses, he didn't speak to the rock. What did he do? He struck the rock. The Most High told him to speak to it so that our people would have faith in the Most High. Like, oh, okay, you know, we doing all this whining and complaining, but look, the Most High just, you know, gave us water. That's not what happened, though, because Moses struck the rock. They gave praise to Moses. Like, oh, Moses is the one that struck the rock. So now, we good now. No, it's not. We're disobedient, okay? We're disobedient, and we're still currently in slavery today. You don't think you're in slavery? Okay, let me ask y'all something. What is one thing that black people own in this country? I'll wait. What about Hispanics? What about Native Indians that are still forced to live on reservations? What do we own? By the time somebody gives me a good answer, I'm going to lose the afro that's on my head. You get my point? We don't own anything. And I was actually talking about this with a brother the other day. It's so bad. Like, we're such good slaves that even when we're told to obey the Most High, we still choose Esau over everything. You don't believe me? Okay. The same people, get y'all real quick, the same people who said, you know, screw Christopher Columbus, you know, it seems like every year we get more and more brothers and sisters who start to educate themselves a little bit on the history of Christopher Columbus and realize that this is the devil we're talking about right now. You get my point? And that's great. That's great that, we know this. But then those same people will turn around and participate in Thanksgiving. All that, I hate the Pilgrims and I hate the colonizers and conquistadors and Christopher Columbus and I hate what he did to the Native Indians. All that goes away once Thanksgiving comes around. Thanksgiving is a pagan holiday. If anything, was it Priest and Captain Gadalhar brought this up? Thanksgiving is nothing but like a victory story of war, of them devils colonizing our people. And they celebrate it every single year through Thanksgiving. But they tell our people, oh, but it's about family. It's about family. You need to come together with your family and get that turkey and that cranberry sauce and all that other food. That's what they tell you. And what do we do every single year? Every single year. Right after Columbus Day, on top of that, man, like really think about that for a second. What do? We go ahead and we celebrate it every time to the point where we're so, what's the word I'm looking for? We're so dedicated to it that we feel wrong for not celebrating Thanksgiving, for not celebrating Christmas. I know Christmas right around the corner, and I'm going to see a whole bunch of Jakes out there buying presents for their kids and whatnot. It's going to be a whole bunch of weak-minded brothers out there who are going to be out there buying presents for their ungrateful little kids because their rib is constantly in their ear talking about something. We got to do it for the children. We got to do it for them. Half of them don't even like the holidays. My whole point is that's a slave mindset. How is that a slave mindset? Most of y'all won't even spend time with y'all families if it wasn't for holidays. That's a fact. Most of y'all, y'all don't even visit y'all aunties, y'all uncles, your cousins. Y'all probably don't even talk to your own mom and dad until Thanksgiving come around. Now it's all about family. It's 365 days in a year, and you have all this time to spend time with your family on any other day. But because the oppressor tells you that, oh, well, it's Thanksgiving, it's time for family and whatnot. You got to spend time with your family. Now you do it. Half of y'all don't even want to do it. And you know what's crazy? The Most High hates pagan holidays, and he makes you pay for it every single time. We're going to read that real quick. I'm going to go to the book of Amos. It's like this one moment. We'll go to the book of Amos. Oops, the book of Amos, chapter 5, verse 21. Book of Amos, chapter 5, verse 21. And this is the Most High right here. I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. God hates Thanksgiving. God hates Christmas. God hates your birthday. God damn sure hates Halloween, that satanic ass holiday. God hates all of that. God hates Mother's Day. God hates Father's Day. God hates New Year's Eve and New Year's. All those man-made holidays, Esau made those, man. Esau made those, okay? And if I could talk about another one real quick. Hold up. What was it? Juneteenth? This is oh my goodness. Okay, this goes more into the modern-day slave mentality, man. We've been so bruised and battered for so long that we are willing to scrape up the crumbs that fall off of our oppressor's table. You don't believe me? Okay. You know how many black people actually cared about Juneteenth? Like, realistically, not much. I'll be honest with you. Most didn't even know about Juneteenth. I'll be real with you. A lot of them didn't, okay? A lot of them didn't celebrate it or nothing like that. But guess what happened? Joe Biden, another one of our oppressors, made it into a federal holiday. And now, all of a sudden, you see all these Judites out here with these shirts. I remember I seen one. As a matter of fact, I think we were at camp one day. They had a shirt that said, "I'm black, but today I'm blackity black." Like that's supposed to mean something. Like, oh, okay, so you black all year round, but on this particular day right here, because Joe Biden told you that this is a federal holiday, now you're extra black. Now you all that. It's garbage. Because guess what happens? As soon as Juneteenth's over, that shirt is coming right off, and you're gonna go right back to being a slave. That's exactly what you're gonna do. Okay? And you're gonna be comfortable with it. That's the problem with our people. We're comfortable being slaves. Like I said, the best slave is a happy slave, because if you enslave the body, back in the day, like when we were first getting oppressed, brothers were still trying to fight back. Sisters were still, sticking by their man, and, because they were only trying to enslave our body. But, they had to come together, Matter of fact, I read it every single time we do Sabbath service. What is it? Salakia. I can't think of it at the moment. I say it every single time. Salakia. Slacking. No, hold on. I want to say it before I continue. Crafty counsel. Salakia. I don't know why I had to think about it for a minute. They have taken crafty counsel against our people and consulted against thy hidden ones. We say it every single time. They got together. Esau. Okay, not just Esau. It was other nations too. But in this particular time frame, Esau, they got together with one another, and they had to come up with a plan to, make sure that we stayed slaves for 300 to 400 plus years. Y'all heard of the Willie Lynch letters? Y'all heard of, they got books called How to Make a Negro a Christian. Literally. They got books on how to give proper instruction on how to enslave the mind. And the oppressor puts it right in front of your face. And with the technology that we have today, you could Google it. You don't even got to go to the library no more. You can get a little Kindle app, download it yourself, and read it for yourself. They hide it in plain. Matter of fact, I can't even say they hide it in plain sight. They show it to you. The instructions on how to be a good slave. Because when you enslave the mind, what are you going to do? Y'all heard of, matter of fact, Django. Samuel L. Jackson, how he loved the oppressor in that movie. I think he played that part a little too good for my personal taste. Salakia. But was it Leonardo DiCaprio? And he was mourning when Massa died and whatnot. And he hated his own people. Real brothers like that exist today. Sisters like that exist today. Okay? We've been trained to hate our own people and love the hell out of our oppressor, man. We love our oppressor. Not in the truth. We hate our oppressor. The oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. We know that. But Jakes in the world, they don't understand that. You don't understand that you can't play both fields. You can't play both fields. You have a master right now. For those of y'all who don't understand that, I'm going to go to the book of Matthew chapter 6, verse 24. And you can take a lot from this. So this is the book of Matthew chapter 6, verse 24. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. This is Christ saying that. Okay? Now, here's the thing. Let's take a second to dissect this. You can't serve two masters, which means that if you're not serving God, you have a master that you are serving right now, and it's probably Esau. Most likely, 99.9% of the time, it's Esau. That's your master right now. Because every single year, you'll hate your family. Some of y'all won't, like I brought up earlier, y'all won't even see your family unless the oppressor tells you to. Every November, I believe it's the last Thursday of every November every year, is Thanksgiving. Every Christmas, the oppressor tells you need to go out and spend that hard-earned money for a slave that's not paying you well off enough anyway. You probably got laid off not too long ago. You probably been in the house because of COVID, because you've been sinning. But you gotta buy stuff for the kids. You have to buy stuff for the kids, because if you don't buy stuff for your children on Christmas, you're a horrible parent. You're a horrible mother. You're a horrible father. Some of y'all don't even raise y'all kids. Salakia. I'm just being real right now. I've seen it. I know we've all seen it. Some people got that one parent, or Salakia, sometimes it might be both parents. Don't see your child for X amount of time, but here comes their birthday. Here comes Christmas. Hey, what's good, son? Da-da. You give them a gift and you think that immense for everything. No, it doesn't. Your child needs you, okay? But you're too busy being a whore. You're too busy letting your kids be babysat by strangers that you probably don't even know, setting them up for molestation while you shaking your behind at a club trying to get a man because you cheated on your last one. Brothers out there want to go out there and buy prostitutes and chase whores and get high and do everything else but see their kid. But when Christmas and Thanksgiving and all these pagan holidays come around, you will sit here because the oppressor told you to go see your kid. Now you're gonna buy presents. Now you're the dad of the year. You're the mom of the year. No, you're not. You're not. And the reason why is because you serve Esau. That's exactly what you do. You are still a slave because you still have a slave-like mentality. Just to break it down even further, we're the only people, we're the only nation that celebrates our own demise, Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, I talked about it earlier, over 100 million Native Indians. That's genocide. It's damn near genocide. Right? You try to make the Native Indians extinct. There's probably lost records of Native Indians that are still buried today. There's reservations today that you can't go to because they want nothing to do with the outside world. They've completely isolated themselves because they've been destroyed. You get my point? But that's what Thanksgiving is about. It is. It's not about the pilgrims coming by and, settling. They tell them that they're settlers. No, they're colonizers. That's what they did. Okay? But we celebrate that. I was speaking with a brother not too long ago. I think he actually brought it up in Captain Gadalhar's class. Let's talk about the Japanese and the Hiroshima bombing. Pearl Harbor, all that stuff. They don't celebrate that. I guarantee you, if America made a holiday glorifying the Hiroshima bombing for all the Asian community, Japanese, right? They'd have a fit. Remember, they had a fit. They had to stop Asian hate, and they had to pass a bill for them. They got their reparations. For what? You get my point? Other nations, they don't glorify the demise of their own kind. They don't do that, but we do. See, Asians, they can speak out about Asian hate and all these things, right? And nobody really tries to go against them. Remember when Black Lives Matter is a joke anyway. I don't even know why I'm bringing them up, Salakia, but at the time when they were seemingly relevant, which they really weren't, when they were brought up, what did people try to do? Oh, all lives matter. Then they try to come out with blue lives matter. They're talking about the police. That's a uniform. Being black, being Hispanic and Native Indian, this don't come off. You feel me? All right, we this through thick and thin. You feel me? But they tried to find a way to oppose that mentality of black unification, even though that really wasn't what it was. But the idea was there. But when Stop Asian Hate came along, ain't nobody tried to cause an uproar with them. You want to know why? Because the Japanese aren't slaves. The Chinese aren't slaves in this country. The Arabians, the Middle Easterns, all remember, they were coming over here to seek refuge. And America gave it to them. But what happened when Haitians came over here? What did they do? They started whipping them. They brought it back to the old school days. Esau was in his element. You can go on Google, and they riding on horsebacks, and they are whipping Haitians. Okay? That's what they were doing. Our Levite brothers and sisters who are the Haitians today were sleeping in boxes. And like just trying to make stuff comfortable for their own children, man. But then, of course, the ISUPK and the Commander General Yohanan brothers in Texas, shout out to them, went down there and they did something absolutely biblical because they care about their people. We care about our people. America does not care about us because we're slaves. Why is it that the Middle Easterns got to come in and seek refuge, but when the Haitians came, it was an uproar then. They could not allow for them to come into this country. Oh, no, 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 no. We can't have more of them. We got enough of them here. We've been trying to kill them all forever. We can't have more Israelites up in here. That's their mindset. That's Esau's mindset, okay? So if you celebrate pagan holidays, you serve Esau. You have a master. You have a master, okay? I'm going to read it one more time. Matthew chapter 6, verse 24. For anybody that missed it. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, Salakia, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. You can't serve God and still be a part of this nation. You can't do that. You just can't. It's impossible. Because there's going to come a time where you're going to have to choose. And who are you going to choose? You're going to choose Esau? The scriptures say, surely oppression make a wise man mad. If you ain't mad about all the horrible things that's been going on with our people, then I'm sorry, but you asleep. You are a damn fool. And you need to hear that. You are a fool. I know there's some people that love to say, well, not all white people are racist. Not all Edomites are racist. Yes, they are. The only difference is now is that they don't have to be abrupt about it anymore because they already won. Remember, these are the same people who are burning down your schools, who are using your children as crocodile bait. They made shoes out of us, in case you didn't know that. They made shoes out of Israelites. They made shoes out of us. I cannot reiterate that enough. The same nation that raped our women, that raped the men, enslaved us, beat us, tarred and feathered, hosed us down, bombed our buildings, all these horrible things. They destroyed our entire way of life to put us down so that we could build up their country. Now this is their heaven. Esau's in heaven right now. You get my point? And there's a reason why they don't want to be reminded of the horrible atrocities that their forefathers have committed. You ever bump into that one white boy who'd be like, oh, well, I didn't do that. My ancestors might have, but I didn't do that. Well, somebody got to pay. If you're really, truly sorry, then okay, give the land back to the native Indians. I mean, it's only fair, right? Give our SUBCRIBE brothers and sisters. Matter of fact, scratch that. I'm not even going to say give them back their land. Get them out of the cages right now. Let them back into their rightful country. California, Arizona, Nevada, all the West Coast, that was Mexico at one point. Until, of course, Edomites, they, broke peace treaties. And now they have the audacity to call our SUBCRIBE brothers and sisters illegal immigrants. The only illegal immigrants are Edomites, the Caucasians, the so-called white man today. Nobody allowed for you to be over here. Who said you could be over here? And then you have the audacity, or the caucasity, Salakia, to sit here and say that they're the illegal immigrants? Yeah, okay. Okay. You see how prideful Esau is? But here's the thing, though. Even for those Edomites who don't know about the Bible, and a lot of them don't, obviously, in their spirit, Esau knows who he is. I'm going to let's go to Revelation chapter 13. Let's go to Revelation chapter 13, verse 10. Now, we've heard this before. This is the book of Revelation chapter 13, verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Who led us into captivity? Our oppressors. Now I'm saying our oppressors. I'm saying it plural because I'm not just talking about Esau. I'm talking about them Hamites too, and anybody else that had us in the past. It's not just Esau. Esau, he's just the most current one at the moment. Nah, remember, we were slaves in Egypt too. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Who was blessed with the sword? Is Esau. For those of y'all who don't know, Esau and Jacob, brothers, right? We was fighting in the womb. You get my point? And it was already prophesied that the older shall serve the younger. The firstborn was Esau. Now, in traditionally, you give your inheritance to the oldest, right? At the time, that's what Isaac was thinking about doing, but it was already prophesied that the older shall serve the younger. The younger, the secondborn, was Jacob. You get my point? Now, Jacob, he was given the law, he was given the blessings, all that, right? He was given the covenant. But thing was, Esau gave over his own birthright for a slab of meat because he was hungry. Jacob didn't have to trick him into it. He just told him hey, if you want me to get this for you, give over your birthright. That's in the Bible. And Esau did it. He didn't oppose to it. He just did it. He didn't trick him. He didn't steal it from him. Esau willingly said, here you go. But then when it came time to get the blessing and Jacob got it, Esau was upset. He was like, but father, he's talking to Isaac at the time. What can I get? And he was blessed with the sword because Esau, he was a crafty hunter. The thing is, though, Esau doesn't have a cap on his blessing. Here's what I mean by that. Esau will hunt the earth to death. Why do you think a lot of these animals are going extinct? It's because Esau is destroying their habitats and hunting them. I brought this up one time. It was, who was this? Because our ancestors, Slovakia. Officer Ima 1, Shalom on Christ, Adawan, Slovakia. I didn't see a comment till now because our ancestors chose not to follow the commandments of the Most High. Damn right, sir. I was bringing that up earlier of why were we actually put into slavery. You get my point? But Esau, I'm talking about Esau real quick. Esau, when he was given the sword, there's no cap on it. He just goes and goes and goes. He kills, he hunts. He'll hunt the earth to the ground until there's nothing left. And then he'll still try to find something. I remember it was, oh my goodness. I think it was General Muhammad brought this up. He said, Esau wants to kill so much that if you lock him in a room by himself, if he has nothing else to kill, he'll kill himself. I was like, damn. And it's true. They will kill themselves. They're not, mentally stable up there when they don't get what they want. My whole point being is, it says that he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword, who was blessed with the sword, it was Esau, must be killed with the sword. Esau's demise is coming, and he knows it in his spirit. That's why he does everything that he does. I remember when I was in the world, I used to think man, why can't white people just leave us alone? Just leave us alone. What did we ever do to you? You know what I mean? Man, y'all won. Now you're just kicking us when we're down. Just go. No, Esau is never going to leave us alone. Esau is never going to let us up out of captivity unless we serve the Most High. Do you want to know why? Because in his spirit, he knows that judgment is coming. Judgment is coming. I'm going to go to Revelations. Nah, that's not it. Slovakia. Nah. Actually, no. I'm going to go to 2nd Ezra. 2nd Ezra. 2nd Ezra 6. Yes, 6 and 9. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, verse 9. This is in the Apocrypha. Actually, you know what? I'm going to start up a little bit. We're actually going to start at verse 8. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born, of him Jacob's hand held first to the heel of Esau. Going back to what I was talking about earlier, that Esau was the firstborn of the twins. It says in verse 9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Meaning that Esau's reign of terror is going to come to an end at some point. You get my point? That's prophesied in the Bible. And I mean, everything in the Bible is true. Tell me I'm wrong. I mean, it was already prophesied that slavery was going to happen to our people. A lot of people don't know that. But guess what? That it happened for approximately 400 years. Now you see, more and more brothers and sisters waking up, learning about their true heritage, coming into the school. You know what I mean? They actually learning what it really means to serve the Most High. They're waking up. They tell you, y'all heard the slogan, the American dream. Well, guess what? You got to be asleep to be in a dream. You get my point? And our brothers and sisters are waking up slowly, but it's happening. And Esau's reign is going to end. And he knows it. He knows it in his spirit. That's why he goes so hard to keep us down. He can't leave us alone. That's why he puts all these drugs in our communities. That's why he makes whores out of our women. That's why he makes, oh my goodness, he makes brothers effeminate. And the LGBTQ community is pushed so much on the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. It's pushed so much on us. They got to find every single way to destroy us possible. I found out, man, they put pork in things that I didn't even know they put pork in. I found out there was pork in, Welch's grape jelly. I didn't know that until a couple of years ago. There's pork in certain toothpaste. Didn't know that. Because they got to keep you sinning. Because they know as long as you continue to sin, the Most High cannot help you. Because remember, the Most High gave us unto vile affections, right? Romans chapter 1, verse 25 through 32. Covenant breakers. We're breaking the covenant. As long as we break the covenant, we will always be slaves. That's why you can't speak out on certain things no more. Everything's very hush-hush. Don't believe me? When we go to camp, when we have our classes, everything that we say, everything that I'm saying to you, it's not based off of opinion. People will call you, oh, well, you're racist. Okay, so what? I've been called worse things in my life. You calling me a racist ain't really bothering me. My whole point is we're bringing up facts, historical facts that happened to our people. The lynchings. It wasn't too long ago, in the midst of COVID, we were getting lynched. In the midst of COVID, Esau still found time to kill. Remember I said he was blessed with the sword, or Salakia. I didn't say that. The Bible said that. He was blessed with the sword. You get my point? He still had to find time to kill. We just had that whole thing about Ahmaud Arbery. And you know what was so sad? To even further implement about how we are happy slaves today? That brother's father, man. There was a picture of that brother's, oh my gosh, that brother's father stating that all lives matter. After his son was shot at point blank range, not once, but twice with a 12 gauge shotgun in broad daylight, man. I couldn't even imagine. Just that's the reality that we live in. Imagine you, a parent at home, your kid at school or whatever, and you find out that your child was brutally murdered by some devil. And then he had the audacity to try to cry. I ain't never seen an Edomite try to force a cry like that. And people bought it. That's the crazy thing about it. They had sympathy for him. After he done killed somebody in cold blood. In broad daylight. We're in slavery, man. We are in slavery to this day. And you can't tell me otherwise. This is the horrible truth that you need to hear. How do we get away from this though? Well, you need to learn to serve the Most High. It's that plain and simple. You have to. Because if you're not, you serve a master, believe it or not. You serve somebody. Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, we are servants of the Most High. If we're not serving him, well, we're going to be serving somebody else. And right now, we serve Esau. We serve Esau. And if you do anything that goes against the social norm, you are a horrible person. If you go against the LGBTQ community, you're a homophobe, which is ridiculous because a phobia means you're afraid of. I ain't afraid of no homosexual. I just want to make that very clear right now. Okay, I'm not afraid of a transgender. Okay, but that is an abomination to the Lord, so we're against that. It's unnatural and unseeming. Okay, but America will tell you that you're a horrible person. You're a bad parent because you didn't buy presents for your kid during the holidays, during their birthday. You're weird if you don't celebrate Christmas. They look at you strange. I know for anybody who's been in the truth long enough, you walk around or whatever and you tell people, yeah, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. They look at you like, huh? What's wrong with you? Well, why don't you celebrate Thanksgiving? That Thanksgiving spirit on them. Because they serve the devil. They serve the white man, who is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Because the devil is a deceiver. That's exactly who it is. That's my whole point, man. But Salakia, for the sake of time, if anybody has any questions, I'll be free to answer them now. But whole moral of the class is, one, you got to learn why we were put into slavery. Two, you need to learn that you are still in captivity as we talk right now. You're in captivity because everything you do, you got to do because of the white man. Because guess what? If you don't come to work on time, you're going to get fired because you work for some white corporation. You do. We all do. I know I do. Salakia. That's what's going to happen. If you don't pay your bills on time, white man going to get you. If you don't pay that child support, brother, the white man going to get you. Yeah, my point. You're in slavery. And the third and most important thing is you need to understand what you have to do in order to get up out of captivity. Because Esau's reign, like I said, Salakia, not like how I said. Let's correct myself. The Bible says that Esau's days are numbered, man. His time is short. His time is short. It's going to happen. So I don't know about you, but I'm praying on Esau's downfall, and I pray you do too. So with that, I'm not seeing any questions. If they want fiction, go celebrate Thanksgiving. Damn right, sir. This ain't fiction. So you want to go? Sure, you want to go read fiction? Like I said, go to the library. Go get you one of them little Harry Potter books or whatever. You know, they'll tell you about a bunch of nothing. This ain't fiction though. This is real. This is real life right here. Okay, this is facts. And anybody who wants to argue, please, by all means, go ahead. You're gonna fail because there ain't nothing coming against the Most High. I pray you understand that. But with that, we get to close the class. Just want to say thawadah to everybody that tuned in. And if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. It'd be greatly appreciated. All right, and with that, medium, just me up here. La Yasharala. Amadim upon Yahakwadam, which means to rise and face the east. We're going to be getting started with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Is the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew? Abanawa, Shabashamayim, Kodash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwithka, Daba'ah, Ratazaka, Haya, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Kawa, Haya, Bashamaya, Lathananawa, Lakam, Kal, Yawam, Wasalatnawa, Kabawatnawa, Kasalatnawa, Kabawathinawa, Wala'ah, Dabayanawa, Wanasaiwan, Abal, Habashainawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha'ala, Wathapara, Lawalumium, Amun. Lord's Prayer in the English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Hakak, which is the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Babakashah, Lathanlanawa, Hakak, Hakak, Larapa'ah, Kal, Makala, Wakal, Madawa, Hakak, Latahar, Ha, Matazariah, Hakak, Lahakwaya, Hamathian, Hakak, Al, Rakawath, Atama Allah, Lagar Shun, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Thawada, Amun. Now, this is Hakak, which is the power in the English. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out in the name of Yahweh Shai. Thank you, so be it. Is the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh, Wa Yahweh Shai, Wa Mayaka Allah, Matazab Ya'ah, Alawap Yahana, Ha Alawapyam, Ha Saronyam, Ha Kwatazayoyan, Ha Kayayoyan, Wa Ha'atwafyan, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Thawada, Amun. Now in the English, bless you Yahweh, and Yahweh Shai, and Michael, and the angels, Commanding General Yahana, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you, so be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayanya, All, Haharyam, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ah, Izoya, Ma'aim, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemayim, Wa'arataza, All Yathan, Lamawats, Wagalka, All, Yanawam, Shemorka, Hana, La'ah, Yanawam, Wala'ah, Yayashan, Shawamar, Yasharala, Yahweh, Shamorka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al-Yad, Yemyemka, Yawamum, Hashamash, La'ah, Yakaka, Wayarach, Balayallah, Yahweh, Yashamorka, Makal, Rai, Yashamar, Athnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Taza'athka, Wababa'athka, Ma'itha, Wa'ai, Iwalam. Now Psalms 121 in the English. I will lift up my eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in, from this time forth and even forevermore. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim, all, Damaya, Laka, all, Dakarash, Wa'al, Dashakwat, all, Kaya, Hana, Oyibika, Yahama, Yawan, Ra'ash, Ail, Amaka, Ya'ayamwa, Sawada, Wa'ita, Yatazawa, Ail, Tazapawanyaka, Amowa, Lakawa, Wanakakidam, Magoya, Wala'a, Yazakar, Shum, Yasharala, Auda, Kaya, Natazawa, Laba, Yakadwa, Ayaka, Baryath, Yakarathwa, Aliyah, Salakia, Ahalya, Adawam, Wa, Yashamai, Aliyam, Mawa'aba, Wahagoyim, Gabal, Wa'amwan, Wa'amalak, Palashath, Am Yeshabia, Tazawar, Gum, Ashawar, Nalawa, Imam, Hayawa, Zarawai, Labunya, Lawatz, Salah, Aisha, Lahum, Kamudyan, Kasaya, Sara'ah, Kayubyan, Banakor, Koyashwan, Nashamadwa, Bayan, Da'ara, Hayawa, Da'man, La'ah, Dama, Shayatamwa, Nada, Yamawa, Kairab, Wakaza'aba, Wakazabak, Wakazazor, Manai, Kal, Slakia, Nasayakamwa, Ashar, Amarwa, Nayarasha, Lanawa, Ath, Naawath, Alahayim, Alahaya, Shayatamwa, Kagogala, Kakwash, Lapanya, Rawka'a, Ka'ash, Dabaira, Ya'ira, Wa, Kalahaba, Dalahats, Haryam, Kun, Daradama, Basairaka, Wabasa, Wapathka, Dabahalam, Mala'a, Panyahum, Kwalawan, Waya, Bakwashwa, Shemka, Yahawa, Yabashwa, Waya, Bahawa, Ayai, Waya, Kaparwa, Waya, Abadwa, Waya, Diawa, Kaya, Adha, Shemka, Yahawa, Labadka, Aliwan, I'll call Haratazah. Psalms 83 in the English. Keep not thy silence, O God. Hold not thy peace. And be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make atonement, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gabal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. A sword also was joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah, do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Ored, and like Zaid, yea, all their princes as Zabah, and as Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. O my God, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O Lord, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. Class dismissed. Shalom, Israel.